Today we are starting the RoboCop build from Fanhome. Brand new, first pack. I'm going to show you everything that comes with it. For the starters, they have this little introductory letter. Just gives you information, a little bit of information about the kit and the company. Again, Fanhome. They include these with every new build. Yeah, a new build. Interesting. Let me go through this and then talk to you how we got to this new build. They also include this, which is just a little bit more detailed information about the build, showing the features. You know, they have the leg holster, the data spike. They give you some of the dimensions. Up here, just more info about what you get in the magazines. More info about just RoboCop in general. Things you get as bonus gifts throughout the build that are included with the subscription. And then I really don't have enough space on camera, but the whole thing folds out into a full-size poster of, I can give you part of it, of what the build is going to look like. And for the record, it is going to be 24 inches tall. So I will definitely have to redo my camera situation before we get to the end of this model. And then here's magazine 1, which they sent me 2 of for some reason. I only have one pack for stage 1, but they gave me 2 magazines, so I guess we'll use this one. Because why not? And like a lot of these model magazines, they start out just giving you some information about the IP that this model is based off of, information about RoboCop, the movie, and I'm sure each magazine will get more in depth on that. And then they have the instructions. And since this is a new build, all new builds with these Partwork models, at least, you know, the few I've done, the first pack is not only, I don't know where, I'm going to have to like mount the camera on my forehead to be able to show how big it is. But with the new builds that I've done, the first pack only consists of the first 2 stages. And they're usually kind of little teaser things. Like the Enterprise build, which you can see over here. One of the first things we built was the bridge and deck 1 on the top of the saucer section. Just kind of really something to kind of wet your whistle. Or whet your appetite. And with RoboCop, obviously the best way to do that is start with the helmet. Which is funny because the little I've read online from other people who have built this, it's like you put together this part of the helmet in the first pack, and then you're just not going to touch it until the end of the build. But that's fine, so it goes to the instructions, and then in the end with the RoboCop build, it looks like they go through, start with like a history of robotics and automatons. And I think just after a couple packs, it just start talking about technology in general. I don't know. I haven't seen any videos of people who have finished the build, so I don't know what the later ones include. Anyway, bring the first pack over and we'll get started. Without further ado, we'll jump straight into stage 1 of pack 1. Like I said, there's only 2 stages in this first pack, so I don't imagine this will take very long at all. I'm trying to do this carefully so I don't peek the mic. And I think this one, like I said, I've seen some build videos of this one, none of them that have gotten to completion. But this one, like the Enterprise, I think it's mostly snap fit and screw in, but I think there's a couple parts that they might not require gluing, but it's in your best interest to glue it in. So I made sure to grab some super glues, so I'm ready for that. But again, I don't think it's necessary with the Fanhome models. Again, sorry if that was loud. So here's everything included. I think I'll just leave it in this tray for now. Going to be starting. So the reason why I say you don't touch this part for like the rest of the entire build is because what I've read online, this this face part, the actual face of Murphy, is like the last thing you put on the model, kind of like the piece de resistance, coup de grace. I don't know what the actual term for that is, but it's like the absolute last thing you do in the build. Just sort of like everything is together, and then you have just this one last little part. Much like I assume with the Enterprise, the last thing you do is put on the decal that says 1701D Enterprise. So, let's get all these parts out. Now this helmet part attaches to the head via magnets. Oh yeah, they did the same with the Enterprise, like I said. The main bridge was the first thing. Also part of one of the nacelles was also one of the first things you did, and then I didn't touch it for, multiple stages afterwards. But the way the helmet attaches to the headpiece is with magnets. So let me see if... So you have to insert this piece of metal. For the RoboCop tonight, we have very, very little. It's just the first two stages in the very first pack. It's the helmet and part of the foot, and I just realized one of these things I was putting in the wrong way, which was why I was having so much trouble. So naturally that means it's just going to pop into place now, right? Damn it, so close. There we go. That only took entirely too long. And then that's fitted in with 4 AP screws. Oh, and one thing that these builds always do, they always include their own screwdriver. As you can see, it's not the most robust thing you get. So I will be using my own. Thankfully, all the screws are, at least the screw heads, are all one universal size. So if you just get PH0, well, you can't see that, but PH0 screwdriver will fit all the different screws included with, as far as I know, pretty much every Partwork model. All these tiny little machine screws. Good. That first part. Now, this is what we all came to see. Gotta get my buffing cloth out. We'll do that later. I'm going to cover this thing with fingerprints while I put it together anyway. But here is the top of the headpiece, which we are going to be putting the visor in. Kind of just to give you a size estimate, this is just the top of his head. Like I said, this is going to be a big old model. So what we're doing now is putting these side pieces on, which, I mean, according to the movie, they actually are screw caps. Because if you remember, he takes them off, and that's what he uses to, or that's where he gets access to remove the screws that are holding his, or this on. So it's kind of fitting that they're being used as screw caps here. How heavy this is, I'm a terrible judge of weight, but this is, it's about as heavy as one of these. I don't know. It's metal. It's not light. Let's see, is it... It's just about as heavy as my mouse. It's one Logitech MX Master 2 in weight. There we go. 1 and 2. Now we're going to put in the magnet, which is going to attach it to the helmet. To make sure everything's oriented correctly. Put it in with 2 of these EM screws. Since these ones are going into metal, I will dip them in just a little bit of oil. Okay, so now we put in the magnet, and again, it doesn't seem like it... Oh, it definitely does have a direction, because it's got a little cutout for this screw, which let me just make... Yeah, okay, never mind. I didn't know if the the magnet was this part or this part, but it's obviously this part, so that means this is just... What went in here was just a metal slug, and it doesn't matter then which way the magnet goes in. And 1 AP screw. Something tells me putting this screw in. Yep. Kind of saw that coming. So the screwdriver, the screw, and the magnet are all sticking together, but thankfully the part I'm screwing it into is plastic. So at least that's stopping everything from just trying to adhere together. There we go. And then this, I believe, yeah, this one is just a pressure fit in there. The visor. Then it's all that's left is... There you go. Most of the head. And so obviously this is magnetic, so it can come off. And you can put on the faceplate at a later time. And the little details they have on here. You can see it's kind of hard with the lighting, but it says OCP Police 001. The Enterprise does not have any magnetic pieces. It has some that are snap fit, like the nacelles snap onto the drive section. And then, of course, the drive section and the saucer section separate. But there were no magnets, now that I'm saying that. No, I take that back. There were magnets to cover up battery boxes. So, like the drive section, the way you access the batteries for that, there's like this little magnetic piece you pull off on the battle bridge. And that... Excuse me, that reveals the battery box. But yes, Omni Consumer Products Police 001. Cool detail, and man, even just seeing this, like I know there's still plenty of model left, but having this displayed on my desk is gonna look super cool. Although I might find some secure way to store that. That helmet looks like it's just primed for getting scratched. But that's it for pack number 1. I'm sorry, stage 1 of pack 1. So on to stage 2 of pack 1. And again, they're giving you a little detail in the movie. Honestly, this is one of those movies where I feel like I know everything about it, but I'm still looking forward to reading these sections because I'm sure there's going to be interesting little details. The amount of information they uncovered for the Enterprise build with their episode breakdown was, again, one of those things where it's like, I know all about Star Trek The Next Generation. And then reading through that stuff, I found out so much more about the show that I never knew. But anyway, for this one, we are starting on the right foot. You're not going to get much with this one. Kind of just, I guess we will finish the foot, but maybe not the heel. And what's interesting at the end, they kind of show you the model and what you finished in that specific stage. I'm pretty sure it was a cop or a robot that was turned into a cop man. That's what happened. And then again, oh wow, it's James Cromwell over here. Architos, I guess, but wow, that looks like James Cromwell. Like I said, it's like, I think the back of the RoboCop magazines are just gonna go through the history of robotics and then just obviously other just science stuff in general, like artificial meat. And yeah, let's jump into it. So, I'm going to start with heel support. Join the 2 heel support pieces with 1 screw. So I think this doesn't matter which way around this is. No, it doesn't look like it. Just fits in there. It's one of those phrases that's really fun to say, but it gets even more fun when you say it around someone who gets it. Just one of those, if you know, you know, sort of things. Yep, that's it. Model done. So this heel support, this can go right in here, and I'm just checking if this needs to be tight enough where it doesn't move, like it's static, or if there needs to be a little play in there. Doesn't say, so I think I'm gonna tighten that up. I can always loosen it later, I suppose. Yeah, it's really stiff. So I think I'll keep it at that. And if this thing ends up needing to move back and forth, I can always loosen it later. Now we got to put in this ball joint. That facing that way, and then this one. Doing this in the wrong direction. Okay, so this... Ah, I see. This end cap does go in a certain way. And so with the ball joints, I should have taken the screws out first. I know with the ball joints, you definitely want these as tight as you can get it, because although it is a joint and it will move, you want it to move at a certain point. Once the rest of the leg is on, you'll have so much torque behind it that if it's even a little bit loose, when the weight's on there, it'll kind of become floppy. But if you tighten it down now, even if you can't move the ball joint at this point, that's kind of like, or I should say, you want it so you can't move the ball joint at this point. At least not without a lot of force. Yeah. I don't know if this is... I think this is supposed to have a little bit of wiggle in there. Because I know that the toe part is supposed to be able to move. Now we got this spring we got to put in. Nice and easy. Put this in here. Put the heel on now. Or the heel. The rear sole, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I've seen some of them do that. I don't know if this one does. I'm trying to think. I've seen, like I said earlier, I've seen some videos of builds, and I'm trying to remember if I saw any of those in this, and none come to mind. But I have seen other videos where they do have that, or other builds. And then the front sole. We have one right foot, and this toe, like since there is a spring in there, it has a little bit of give because the model is I guess it's fully articulated as far as RoboCop is like canonically articulated. Like it's very stiff. You can move it and pose it, but it does have its limitations into how you compose it. Again, much like RoboCop, he's very stiff and, well, robotic. Folks, we have the helmet, which comes off the headpiece, intentionally. And then we have the right foot, which is what we're going to be continuing on next whenever that next pack comes. Which, that's a little loose. You know, the way these models go, within probably a month from now, I will have the next pack of RoboCop. That's all we got. We'll be back in at least a month, but fingers crossed sooner for the Enterprise.